Hey, what's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about the movie Obsession. I went and saw this movie twice in a few days span, and I really liked it. So I want to talk a little bit about it. I'm going to try my best not to spoil too much in this review, mainly because I think this movie is really, really good, and I think the value, the shock value, just the value of watching this movie on your own is worth way more than me telling you things about it. Maybe I'll make a separate video just spoiler wise, but as of right now, I want to try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. Um, I am gonna kind of talk about a couple scenes just to give you context that I really liked. But other than that, I'm gonna try and keep it spoiler free. I did go and see the movie twice, so I did feel like seeing the movie twice was the best thing to do because there is a lot of detail in this movie that they kind of that you don't need the detail, but if you have the detail, it helps you kind of understand the characters a little bit better. So I will say seeing the movie twice is really good. I would say go see it in theaters and maybe wait for it to come out on stream, which it is coming out on stream. As of right now, it's the 26th of May. It'll be out on stream, I think, June 2nd, and it's also going to be like an unrated director's cut, which is going to have more things that they weren't allowed to have in the rated R version of the movie. So if you get a chance, watch that. That's what I'm going to wait for to see it my third time. Just know it's worth seeing a third time. That's what I'm going to say here. So Obsession is a new classic horror, in my opinion, from the mind of Curry Barker. Curry Barker is a pretty famous skit YouTuber. You know, we've had this trend of YouTubers that are really good at making horror movies. It's like comedy is just a tragedy for these guys. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. His videos are good though. He's fun. He's got a lot of those like TikTok, YouTube type, you know, like one-on-one with a person, awkward conversation type skits. They're fun, you know, like a lot of people might not like those, but I'm really into that kind of humor. I don't mind it. It's kind of like The Office in a lot of ways where it's just awkward humor. But yeah, we've had kind of a trend, you know, it started with Talk to Me and then Bring Her Back. Those were made by YouTubers. And then you got movies like, you know, Zach Krager with his Barbarian and Weapons and now Resident Evil coming out. These are all skit YouTubers that are just pretty much known for their raunchy humor, and they're making some of the best horror movies I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, when I say those four movies right there, just those four, those are like four of my favorite horror movies in the last decade. So when it comes to Obsession though, I think Obsession might be my actual favorite horror movie I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of movies in my entire life, you know, thousands of movies, a lot of horror movies, and it's saying a lot when I think that this movie specifically might be like my favorite horror movie. It's definitely my favorite movie of the year so far. And it's probably one of my favorite horror movies. I'm somebody when it comes to, and not to get away from the review a little bit here, but just to give you context, I'm somebody who I think like movies like The Babadook, Jeepers Creepers. I think those are some of my favorite scary movies. Not because you know, I know the idea of like Jeepers Creepers might be stupid. You know, it's a monster that comes back every 20 years chasing people around to eat them. I get that concept is stupid. Same with Obsession here. Obsession's about a guy who's really into this girl, but he can't say that he likes her because he's too afraid of ruining the friendship, whatever. And he buys this thing called the One Witch Willow. He snaps it and he makes a wish that she'd love him more than anything in the world. And the movie just kind of slow burn becomes, it's not really even a slow burn. It just starts pretty fast. It's just like a burn of just like her going crazy and like being just possessed by something pretty much. But like that concept, just like Jeepers Creepers, it's a stupid concept, right? It's so basic, but they took it and they made it human. They made it like feel like there's like a human element there that's really just fucked up. Like with Jeepers Creepers, if they didn't get too nosy and go down in the guy's fucking body cave and look around, he wouldn't have gotten their scent and he wouldn't have wanted to kill them as much as he did. Same with like The Babadook, for example. The Babadook is really just a psychological horror about a single mother who's kind of going crazy. You know, she lost her husband recently. Her son's a little mentally ill. It's just a lot, you know, for her. And throughout the movie, a monster's kind of creeping on her and like just fucking with her in her own home. And the concept might be super basic, but it's the human element of it. It's the fact that like this guy in this movie is in love with this girl and he finally gets what he wants. And it's so hard to navigate that type of relationship. You know, like you have the girl you want, the one that you've always wanted, that crush, you know what I mean? But she's fucking crazy. She's absolutely nuts and everybody around you sees it, but you as the person who's obsessed with her can't stop. And that's what's fun about Obsession is it's not just about the girl who's obsessed with the guy because the wish, it's about the guy who's obsessed with the girl making the wish pretty much. So it's a very good like dichotomy of like just storytelling when it comes to Obsession. I really do think that this movie was near perfect. Like there's after watching it the first time, I had questions, and then I went into it that second time, and I kind of was looking for the answers, and I got them. I got every answer I wanted, and it was such a subtle when it comes to the acting, when it comes especially from the main girl, her name's Indy Navarrete, I believe her name is. She is not known very much at all. Same with Michael Johnston, the main character of this. I'd say the main characters, those two, the girl and the guy, they're definitely the focus of the movie, but there's also a couple side characters, their friend Ian, their friend Sarah. They all work together pretty much. They're all like a group of friends. They do a good job at giving all of them like their time, but the main characters are the main character Bear and the main character Nikki, and it's about their like love life pretty much. The movie is out of this world psychological though. Like it'll fuck with you really bad, and it'll fuck with you in terms of like the real horror, in my opinion. Like the jump scare stuff, like it has a couple jump scares, but it doesn't rely on them, and it doesn't use loud music to do it. It uses movement of the characters and lighting really well. Like I would say when it comes to the lighting of this movie's lighting might be the best lighting I've ever seen in a movie. The way they have Nikki sometimes just like standing in like a dark spot of the room. When you guys were kids, did you ever have a moment where like, even now I have this problem. I had this problem after seeing the movie the first time, which is why I think it's so good. I was laying in bed just kind of thinking of the movie, watching TikToks about it and stuff. And I put my phone down. I laid there and I was kind of looking at my ceiling, and then I looked over at my closet. My closet door is open with like my jacket hanging from it or whatever. And it felt like I was looking at my jacket and it was like somebody standing there. And that's what this movie did to me. I had to go and close my closet. Like I was like, okay, no, I can't do this. That's what this movie does. It does that so much where like you'll be looking at somebody who's in the dark and you're like, there's no way that's a different person. Is that her? Is that her? She almost looks like demonic sometimes. Like it's like the your imagination fucks with you a little bit, and it feels like Curry Barker knew exactly how to do that to people because it feels like he experienced that himself. And I think that's the best horror, is when you can take something that truly scares you and you can turn it into something that truly scares everybody else. And that's really as far as I'll go with this movie, is like it just fucks with you. It fucks with you really bad, and it makes you think about it afterwards because of all the little details in each character and all the little details of the wish that he did, and all of the just the things that come together in this movie that make you really 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 fucking feel weird afterwards. It's very unsettling. I would say my first time watching, I was unsettled. I was very like, ooh, like I was just creeped out. And again, it's a basic concept. It's a basic concept. It's stupid. It's like a little Chinese finger trap that he breaks in half, and it's just a wish. It's stupid. It's mystical, in a way, but it's so easy to put yourself in the position and kind of try to understand the character's motivations a little bit. Because in this movie, the main character is not a good guy. You know what I mean? He's not. Like, he wished for this girl's free will to be taken from her pretty much without realizing it. That's what he did. And throughout the movie, he knows what he did. You know what I mean? So it's like throughout the movie, you're not really rooting for this main character. You're more rooting for the girl to get her fucking her livelihood back. But it's just one of those movies where it puts the viewer in a really weird spot. It's a really weird spot for the viewer. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies I think I've ever seen. Right off the bat, I'm pretty much gonna say I think it's like a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I'd say it's near perfect. I mean, I don't like to give perfect scores. I don't think it's fair to do that, because I think if you give something a perfect score, then there's nothing to achieve in the next one. And he is working on more movies, but with this one, if I could, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I'm going to say 9.5 out of 10. I will say one of the issues in this movie, I think a lot of people might be turned off by, not only is the concept super like just it's not like insanely scary in terms of what more normal audiences want. Most audiences want a very like jump scare movie that's memorable to them. For me, this is memorable. This is something I'll remember because it's so just gritty and real deep down, and unsettling how it made me feel afterwards. I think a lot of people will be a little bit off by the way the horror works in this movie. It uses lighting, it uses like its characters, way of movement and everything like that to really scare the viewer. And I think a lot of people will be a little off by that. I also think people might not, I'm into this stuff, like I said in the beginning, but a lot of people might not be into the skit comedy aspect of it, because there is a lot of like, it's kind of funny in a way, because like the main character, he'll wake up and she's like acting crazy, like moving around the room like a fucking weirdo. For example, there's one scene where he wakes up and she's not in the bed with him like she was the night, like earlier in the night. And he wakes up and it shows like the camera angle. And this is the only spoiler I'll give you guys. It shows him looking at his wall from his bed. Like, where is she? And it's a standstill camera shot. And there's things in the corners that are like supposed to fuck with you. And you're like, is she in this room? I can't tell if she's here or not. And it focuses too much just on this wall. And then you see her step out, and it's just like, oh my God. Like, it's just like, oh my God, she's standing right there. That's fucking crazy. The way it uses the lighting, it just scares you. and then she like pokes out, and then she goes back in really quick out of nowhere. There's no music to like signify that that's gonna happen. She just does it, and that's why I think this girl Indy Navarrete, she does so good. She's so good. I think she deserves some type of Oscar nomination, at least an Oscar win, in my opinion. I think she's gonna be a scream queen going forward. She's fantastic. When it comes to scenes like that, though, like it's just the sound, the lighting, the atmosphere, it just all goes together, and it's just super fucking creepy, but it's funny in terms of like the way the character moves, and then the way the guy Bear is sitting in the bed just watching her do this, because she'll just be like, go back to sleep, and like she's in the shadow, and the way he reacts is he's like, what the fuck are you doing right now? I'm fucking terrified. And it's almost hilarious the way he kind of has conversations with her. Like the next day he wakes up, he's like, can we talk about what happened last night? Because that fucking scared the shit out of me. And it's just those reactions themselves are the funny part of the movie. And that kind of happens throughout the movie, where there's moments where the friend, like his friend Ian will ask him like, what happened? You know, what's going on? Like, what happened last night? Did you guys bone? What happened? And he's like, I don't know, we start making out, and then she started fucking acting weird as fuck, dude. So like moments like that will make the audience laugh, and that's kind of where like that's, you can tell the Curry Barker, like his way, and it's just his way of doing things, his way of having characters have conversations is very much what he's used to, which is just skit comedy. So that maybe people might not like that too much. Another thing that really fucked me up with this movie is, and this might be a spoiler, so I'm just gonna say cut off right now if you don't want anything like major to be spoiled.
Viewer discretion is advised.
The idea that her humanity is taken from her, it's very prominent early on in the movie that, you know, there's moments where she snaps out of the trance and like the real Nikki comes out and she's like, what the fuck is going on? What is going on? And that makes me unsettled, because it tells you throughout the movie, like it kind of like symbolizes that she has conscience underneath the possessed Nikki, the one that's like being like wished for. That one takes over, and the real Nikki is like suffering deep down, just stuck trying to get out. And that's a really big emphasis in this movie, is that she's not okay. Like she's not just gonna snap out of it. She's fucked up. Like there's something going on inside her. Like her real Nikki is fucked up. And that to me made me very unsettled. It made my stomach kind of hurt. And it was just, it's just, that's real horror. That is real horror. And that's what I think this movie is. I think Obsession is true horror. I think this movie is the most modern day best form of horror we've ever seen. It's absolutely fantastic. I think it's better than Hereditary. Though I think Hereditary is a top tier movie, I think this is better. I think there's tiers to this, and I think this has found itself on a tier above those recent last 2 decades of great horror. With that being said, I'm not going to spoil too much more. I think this is a 9.5 out of 10. I think this movie is absolutely fantastic, and I think you should definitely see this movie. Be aware that it is coming out to streaming in just a couple weeks, so I would definitely say go and see it in theaters. It's super worth it, and I can't wait to see it a third time. It's just that good. So you guys have an awesome night. Love you. Bye.